This man took the life of his own baby girl. Oh, hi there, stranger. This is part 49 of the England's Whole Lifers list, so viewer discretion is advised. Extra trigger warning, today's case does involve a very young baby. If you are sensitive to this sort of topic, then I heavily recommend that you skip. If you're staying with me, then let's get to it. So today I'm telling you about Andrew Randall from Northamptonshire. Randall was in a relationship with a woman who suffered from schizophrenia and had been in care. At the time of the event, Randall was his partner's main caregiver. On the 29th of September 2005, their daughter was born 5 weeks premature and with a heart defect. They named her Jessica, and baby Jessica was too poorly to go home and so spent the first 2 weeks of her life in a special care unit at their local hospital. The mother refused consent for special care to be given to her baby, and the parents also were not bonding with the baby, and so staff contacted social services. After baby Jessica was discharged from the hospital, she would be taken to the doctors 3 times between October and November. Then on the 7th of November, the mother again took baby Jessica to the doctors, this time because she was making strange noises when she was breathing, and she was choking and coughing. The baby had scratches around her nose and mouth, which the mother said were self-inflicted, and baby Jessica also had a circular bruise on her cheek, which the mother said was from falling asleep on a dummy. The doctor contacted the duty social worker, and baby Jessica was admitted to the hospital just the next day. She had been crying strangely and twitching. Just 2 days later, they were back at the doctor's again, and the doctor noted twitching in baby Jessica and so sent her back to the hospital, where she would stay until the 15th of November. During this hospital stay, staff would again notice the lack of bond between the parents and baby Jessica and again contact the social services. The social services would now arrange for weekly visits to the home to take place. The first of these visits would occur just 2 days later on the 17th of November, with the social worker examining the baby, but nothing out of the ordinary was noted. On the 21st of November 2005, the mother called emergency services and paramedics attended the address. Baby Jessica was again rushed to the hospital, but tragically this time she did not survive. In fact, baby Jessica had already been pale and cold to the touch when paramedics arrived on scene. I'm going to pause here to give you another extreme trigger warning for what is to come, and I'm not even telling you the half of it. The pathologist found that baby Jessica was underweight and had bruising to the face and ears. She had suffered an acute subdural hematoma, which is a life-threatening build-up of blood on the brain's surface, usually caused by head injury. She had a stellate fracture, which is a star-shaped fracture that spreads out from the impact site, and that is usually caused by direct impact on that bone. The stellate fracture was on the top right side of her skull. The pathologist said that that injury would have caused baby Jessica to lose consciousness and pass away shortly after. During police interview, Randall said that on the night in question, Jessica's mother had gone to bed around 10 p.m. Jessica would not settle, and so he placed his hand over her nose and mouth to quieten her. He said he had done this before and it had worked. It didn't work on this night, and so he repeated this action 4 or 5 times until he knew that baby Jessica was close to passing away. He then placed her under a blanket so that the mother or neighbours wouldn't hear her. He admitted that in her short life he had squeezed baby Jessica's nostrils together and placed his hand over her mouth on multiple occasions. He had also shaken her on numerous occasions, and he would flick her nose and ears. He said he had dropped her at least a dozen times. Randall used the T word to describe his treatment of his own daughter. He also admitted to essaying baby Jessica. He maintained that he had not intended to take her life that night, but admitted to fantasizing about taking her life on an almost daily basis. He also admitted to fantasizing about taking his own partner's life and fantasizing about imprisoning and doing other things to women. He said he thought it was his destiny to take somebody's life, but that he didn't expect it to be his own child. He recognised that the fracture to baby Jessica's skull was likely caused by him pushing her head against the sofa. Psychological analysis basically concluded that there were no serious issues, but that Randall couldn't maintain interpersonal relationships and did not react appropriately to even the most minor setback. He admitted to being a complete control freak and losing it when he lost control of any aspect of his life. He would have struggled being the main carer to his partner and looking after a sickly baby, but the psychological report said that Randall had repeatedly stated that he had not had the intention to take baby Jessica's life on that night. Because he was a control freak, he couldn't stand the fact that his baby was poorly and wouldn't settle. He said he wanted his baby to be, quote, either well or gone. Randall ended up pleading guilty just before the trial. The judge took the exceptionally high seriousness of the offences into account and also concluded that, contrary to his claims, Randall had premeditated this act because he had repeatedly thought about committing this act. He concluded that a whole life order was appropriate, thank the gods. Or so I thought. Because strangers, this case doesn't end here. That sentence was passed down in March 2007. And in a lot of these cases, they do appeal. Sometimes I tell you about it and sometimes I don't. Randall did appeal in August 2007. He appealed on the basis that a whole life order was not appropriate to the crime. And I read that full judgment and I am sick to my stomach to tell you that he won and got his sentence reduced to a 30-year minimum. That will bring him to 66 years old when he can go before the parole board, who will have to decide whether he's safe to be released. Baby Jessica knew 2 weeks of peace in her very short life, and those were the first 2 weeks when she was still in hospital. She lived just 53 or 54 days, and the majority of that time in pain and distress by her own father. The gross breach of trust of such a vulnerable, tender young baby should have been enough for that whole life order to maintain, in my opinion. Of course, I'm not a judge. The trial judge that passed sentence had taken into account sexual motivation, premeditation, the gross breach of trust of a vulnerable young baby by her caregiver. The appeal judges could find no evidence of SA on the day that the unaliving was committed. It happened around a month or so before. Therefore, in their eyes, there was no sexual motivation. And even though they agreed that premeditation was a factor, the SA and the physical did not fall into the top end category, and so his sentence was reduced to 30 years. I'm so sorry for baby Jessica, and Andrew Randall should never have anything to look forward to, in my view. The only thing I can tell you to end this out is that in August 2011, a man named Jason J attacked Randall in Long Lartin prison. During this attack, Jason J took one of Randall's eyes out using a sharp. He did lots of other things to him too, only stopping when he thought that Randall had passed away. He hadn't. He survived the attack. And so, as far as I'm aware, he's still serving out his time. Rest in peace to 7-week-old baby Jessica. And that is the horrendous case of Andrew Randall. He still comes up on a lot of the lists, so I was not expecting that appeal result. And it's made me think, do I need to check all the others? Because a lot of people think that Randall is on the list. All I can say is that I hope the parole board never let that man out, and that I personally agree with the trial judge. I would say let me know what you think in the comments, but I don't think I can imagine any single person disagreeing with me on this one. But as always, if you've stayed with me up until now, then thank you for watching, and I'll see you for the next one.